Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected President of the United States in 1933, succeeding Herbert Hoover, who was widely blamed for the Great Depression. As FDR sought to rebuild the country's financial prosperity, he developed a series of legislation that came to be known as the New Deal. This initiative, and many others like it, created many government-funded works programs and focused on restoring the economy for all. This was a radical and unprecedented move, and the constitutionality of many of the bills was called into question, largely by pro-business and small government-supporting conservatives. As a result of the concern about the government overstepping its bounds, the conservative-leaning Supreme Court proceeded to rule quite a few of FDR's programs unconstitutional. The ever-enterprising president wasn't too happy about being stopped in his tracks, so he came up with a very shady and politically motivated idea. FDR presented a plan that allowed him to appoint a new Supreme Court justice for every current justice that had been on the court for 10 years and had reached the ripe old age of 70 years and 6 months. This was called the Judicial Procedures Reform Bill of 1937. If voted on by Congress, the bill would allow FDR to stack the Supreme Court in his favor by adding only new justices that agreed with him. Therefore, the New Deal legislation would have no problem passing the unconstitutionality test of the Supreme Court. FDR argued that his ploy was not technically illegal, as the number of justices on the Supreme Court is not technically mentioned in the Constitution. But he ran into opposition very quickly. The public and Congress realized the immorality and overreach of FDR's bill. Therefore, the bill was never voted on. Although FDR did not succeed in stacking the court in his favor, his plan ultimately helped his goals to succeed. Possibly in fear that FDR would eventually stack the Supreme Court, the justices started to allow the New Deal programs to stay. FDR lost the battle, but some may say he won the war.